and Gurugi's just yelling, "Stack Waipu." Seems he's quite excited about this, as he should be. It's a big war. It's a huge war. But the Ming is mobilized, and let's not forget, what is the Ming? The Ming is a hegemon, a military hegemon. They're not going to worry about war exhaustion. They're not really going to worry about the unrest back home. And they can also move faster, siege harder, and take less attrition. That's going to be important in these huge wars, because marching around here is fairly atrocious, but with all those bonuses he has, he takes far less marching around here. Somebody in chat is pointing out that the Ming should be helping their allies in India. Well, that's what they're marching in for, but you know, Asia's a big place. There's a lot of land to march around. Okay.
Battle in Western Delhi, where the Mughals destroying the Indians there.
Yeah, but the Mughals, they don't have an unlimited number of themselves there. They're getting chipped away at. I'm seeing cannons on the front row for the Mughals. They might have to beat a hasty retreat, but who's that coming in but Revolutionary Saxony? Might be too little too late. Oh, it certainly is, and that means that stack got wiped out. Oh, that's a shame. They're getting 10 to 1 because they're bringing in 20,000 stacks against over 200,000. That is very bad news for Saxons, because if they want to bring fresh troops, it's a long, long journey.
And it's a lot of Ming manpower, a lot of Indian manpower. Delhi's matching Mughals 1 by 1 on manpower easily.
Yeah, look at that. 500,000 manpower saved up for Ming. And let alone to get their hegemon, they had to have over 1 million standing army, and they certainly do.
And they also siege. They're just melting through the fort.
Cribbins, you see Doaba fall there. It just evaporated. And Sirhind's on the way down as well. With that Ming siege ability, they're completely countering that Mughal fort defense. So the Mughal needs to mobilize fast to stop Ming sieging them down.
Ming has all the powers. They have their artillery for back row. They have the force march cost no power and artillery bonus versus forge. So basically, military hegemon is holy shit. They're just gonna.
Yeah, with Ming here, you know, they don't need to be worrying about the Indians. They need to worry about Ming, and the fact that Ming is sieging that down.
19-day siege phases versus a Mughal that has a lot of great defensiveness.
Yeah, Mughal already has defensiveness bonus there, but the Ming are powering through. Those sieges are just going down, and we have Ming just... no, that's not Ming, that's Ming. Revolutionary Texas Aura. Texas. I'm not seeing it. Okay.
You found that it doesn't exist anymore.
That said, when Ming actually enters the fights themselves, they don't have quite as much morale as the Europeans they're fighting against. So I think the best thing that they can do is defeat the Chinese, send them back to China so they can actually focus on keeping the sieges working to their advantage. Because right now things are going great for the Indians. They got that big battle going on in that province next to Doab. Tons of them pouring in here. This is a big fight. If you count the bodies, there's probably 1 million people just outside of Doab here.
And there's so many more Indians coming, so many more Ming coming, and now the Commonwealth are marching down.
Okay, yeah, the Commonwealth took quite a while to get here. The Europeans and friends were able to win there, but now they have all these sieges, and they're not going to be able to siege them back quite as fast as Ming took them away. So that's a dangerous position for them. Who's diving in deep? Revolutionary Saxony's taking the fight deep into Samana. Oh, and he's cleaning up. He's cleaning up. Good job, right? That's the kind of fights that the Europeans need if they want to triumph here. But there are a lot of Indians, and if they work to their strengths, they've got this. Look at Nepal just holding Mughals at a stalemate. Neither one really wants to move. Mughals are going in. Nepal is reacting a little too slowly. Ooh, right, so that didn't work out too well for them. They're sending in more, but they are getting chomped down piecemeal. If you want to dethrone the Mughals, you got to throw everything you can in as fast as you can. Yeah, they sent Nepal packing there. In fact, they're chasing down Nepal. Oh my, I hope Nepal has more units than that. They don't. Okay, this is an excellent opening for the Mughals to pour into Nepal if the Europeans can keep the Delians and the Ming busy up in the north. Who was that in chat saying, should I join? Is somebody wondering if they should be getting in on this war as well? Was it Daniel? I feel like it was Daniel. Feels like something Daniel would say. Another big fight happening south of Sirhind here in Batiana. Victory for the Delians. Delhi does not like to lose battles in his homelands here. Get a quick refresher on the casualties so far. The Sinosphere side have lost 1.3 million troops in total, whilst the Mughals and Friends barely over 500,000. Interesting. If the losses keep going that way, then it could work to Mughal and Friends' advantage.
But the time is ticking, and
yeah. So where are we? We're 1792. We're almost in the 19th century.
And who said hegemon?
We must have Japan back. There we go. They got it back. They're going to build that up.
Now they're taking score. Now they're taking 1800 or 18 per month. Taking more than Ming. Why is Ming not taking so much?
Ming is not as highly ranked, it seems.
This is, I think Ming, it's going to be between the third place between Ming and Commonwealth.
Yeah, I think Japan and Ming are going to be able to triumph over Commonwealth when it comes to score there, but... well, he's almost done ticking up on all of his victory cards there. Oh man, huge fights going over in Bangladesh, but it's working well for the Sinosphere here. The Indians and Ming are doing a terrific job working to their strengths. Ming gets those sieges done. But Nepal's under occupation. They need to get that back. Them getting beaten back to the south was pretty brutal early on. Mughals took some excellent battles against them. Who's that coming in for a fight? We have Revolutionary Hanover just marching into Bangladesh for reasons unknown. There are a lot of troops backing up there. Okay, Hanover's had enough with life. He's just marching in. Oh, I'm going to take this moment to actually appreciate the total losses across the world, just in case we somehow miss out on this later on. But if we check army losses and sort by total, I'll ignore the player part for now, we can have everybody. The Delhi and the Ming have far and away had the highest total losses here. 9.9 million for Delhi, 6.6 million for the Ming. Then we have the Commonwealth, and I'm not surprised, they've been getting involved in wars left and right. Brazil is one that actually surprises me. I'm really surprised they've lost as many as they have. And Nepal, Sardinia, Piedmont, Mughals. Even Prussia. The cost of war, says Icicle in chat. Yes, very costly war. But this is what it's all about. Trophies. At the end of the day, there will be 3 players getting trophies. And today is the day that they truly figure out who's getting them.
We're seeing a slaughter of Mughal armies again and again.
Yeah, after getting dislodged there, the Asians have been able to clean up and push back and push further. I'm just surprised that the Ming is not doing more occupation, because that's where his incredible power is from. Oh well, he's actually hemorrhaging hegemon. It's going down and down. So he's lost big boon there. That's not too good. Whilst Japan trickles up, and of course Brazil is unshakably the economic hegemon of the world. With income like that, who needs friends? 1,500 total income per month, and probably growing.
Brazil is just laughing every single day for this.
Oh yeah, I mean, they played their cards very right for a lot of this. And they've been, you know, they've not been changed country at all. They started as Portugal, they've changed to Brazil, but they stayed true to their heartlands. They didn't give it up. And when the timing was right, they were able to counterattack on the Spaniards with their good friend Andalusia, formerly Morocco. They worked out the border frictions, and that allowed Brazil to essentially lay claim to South America. Not only that, I forget how exactly Brazil was able to get so much land off of Africa, especially since Benin said Africa is for the Africans. But they played their cards very right, and that is why they're enjoying front runner when it comes to trophies. Clausewitz's cool saying, "Now what, Gruger? Separatists taking my land back." What are you up to, Mughals?
Muscat is getting sieged back by Yemeni rebels.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 25 years left, and yeah.
It's starting to get to the point where if you have any victory cards, you need to get them now so they tick up for the end. Conversely, if you want someone to lose their points, you've got to be occupying those victory cards right now. Okay, the counterattack is real. They're throwing themselves into these forts. One's still occupied by the Ming and by Delhi.
Nice marching there.
Yeah.
They're getting
big fight by the Europeans. They're pushing in strong. And they're taking all sides.
Multiple places, divide and conquer and destroying their armies. We also see Milanese armies down here now.
Yeah,
Milan's
getting in on the fight. Nepal is pushing out into Mughals. I don't think that's good. That's going to have them separated and destroyed by other armies. But what I like about the European fight here is that because they spread out, they stop the forces congregating in one point. Because if it comes down to everyone in one province, the Europeans get mauled. There are just so many Indians and so many Chinese.
And they got mauled in Kangura in the mountains. And there's a huge stack there.
They
still
just shouldn't take that fight. It's hilly, it's fortified, unless they hold it.
And Mughal army getting stacked.
Oh, no, that's just a sacrifice. That is just a sacrifice. I guess the one advantage Mughals has here is they can quickly make armies and bring them back. But you know, so can Ming, so can Delhi, so can Nepal. But those Europeans, it's a long tour of duty if they want to come down and fight in northern India.
Mughal armies
Huge fight going over in Doaba. They are marching on in. Another bloodshed here. Youch.
They're committed. They have their 600,000 troops that are in that battle.
Yeah, and they've all thrown them in immediately. Not even seeing the losses here. Let's see this from Ming's point of view. There we go.
More Ming armies marching up. A lot of Ming armies marching up to this one.
Yeah, well they need it because they are shattering at this rate. The Ming needs to force march his way in fast. They have yeah, their morale is buckling here. Then again, the Europeans don't have as many in reserves. Oh, Jings, when there's cannons on the front row, the numbers are going to be ridiculous in terms of losses. Tens of thousands dying as days go by. Brutality. But there we go. The Europeans held strong. Well, damn, that their operation worked pretty well there. I think we can all put it down to Milan, who has arrived and brought just the kind of leadership and morale that they need for this.
Where's the Mughal troops, you ask me? Well, you have to go a little bit away from India, and you have to look into Persia. Because Nepal is advancing.
Yeah. I worry about Nepal getting cut off here, but there are a fair few of them, and Nepal do fight hard. In fact, we can see that right here. It's Nepal versus Mughals. And Mughals bring in reinforcements, so does Nepal. Nepal brings in more. The Mughals line is shattered. He does not have the artillery to make that come together. So those Mughal mercs, off they go. Good one for Nepal. I criticize his move, but actually it's working pretty well for Nepal. And putting a bit of pressure on Mughals. Mughals doesn't want to have to go to his European friends and say, help, I let them into my country. Could we divert resources here? Because currently, you know, they just managed to retake Doaba. They managed to force back the Chinese. This is actually working pretty good for the Europeans, but less good for Mughals with Nepal doing that operation in the south. Just zooming out to get a sense of scale on the war. It's half of Europe and the greater Mughals against all of the East. And the only
Well, they're committing a new Mughal army, or the Mughal remembrance of the army, and a Commonwealth army is protecting them. And multiple Commonwealth armies protecting them.
He's going to have to reinforce that, but Mughals are already in debt. They're no economic hegemon. They're not bringing the dosh here. There's a question about why the Kaiser is so passive. He's currently outstripping the revolutionary Commonwealth in terms of score. So to get a trophy, he doesn't really have to do anything. But if he takes a move, yeah, he's going to end up second at this rate. And he doesn't have any chance, really, of dealing with Brazil. So he doesn't have to do anything, unlike Ming and Commonwealth, where they have to fight pistols at dawn here. But I'm surprised that the Commonwealth isn't bringing more to this.
Oh yeah, there's a huge battle in Samana.
Oh, that's not looking good for the Europeans. They're bringing everything they can. They were able to piece together their line, but now it's not looking so good for the Ming. Almost cannons on the front row, but there were reinforcements pouring in. Oh man, another one of these big fights. And I think this is where advantage goes to the Indians and the Chinese, because they can bring in so many. But the way the battle's going is actually working pretty well for the Europeans. They still have some units they can bring in. There's Revolutionary Saxony, for some reason moving away. Revolutionary Commonwealth able to bring in more.
The Stellaris armor is just... Oh yeah, here they come.
Yeah, on they come. Oh, it's going to be another one tight. Another tight one here. Cannons on the front line for the Asians here. I mean, that's when they start doing enormous amounts of damage as well. Oof, tens of thousands of losses each tick there. It's not looking good for the Asians here, not at all. They were forced to retreat. Ooh, and that looks like Samana is going to be crumbling. Nice picture of it, up in flames, walls crumbling, defenders deserting. They take that back, they work on the others, and then they'll have these lands back. But then, you know, they haven't even started on the siege of Delhi, whilst the Mughals are still under occupation from Nepal. But Nepal is maybe getting cleaned out? No, Nepal is cleaning out the Mughals. I gotta hand it to what Nepal is doing here. They're taking a solo operation and diverting Mughal attention. I noticed that there weren't any Mughals in that fight around Samana before.
Occupying 140,000 of the Europeans in the west.
Yeah, and that's working really well, because as we can see, the Europeans have, the Asians have just about enough to dislodge on these fights. So I think this is the best use of Nepal forces right now. Getting a look on the losses here, over 5 million. Over 6 million just about lost in this war, but this is a war for trophy. They need to deal with the Ming, but it's not happening here. Well, come to think of it, the war is against Ming, but they're fighting it against Delhi. No doubt they want Delhi out and Nepal out so they can focus entirely on the Ming, but that's not going to be happening, and Delhi and Nepal will not throw in the towel here. There's no reason for them to. They've decided to king make for the Star Nan in the Ming. They've already fought against each other to work out their differences. They're not going to roll over and allow this European attack. Well, not allow it to succeed as well. There we go. Almost all of these are desieged. Delhi is still there, but whilst it doesn't have a fort, it's a bit of a dangerous target given how surrounded it is by Delians. However, the Europeans are moving on in. They're moving on in quite a lot. They have these forts that kind of work to their advantage now. If the Asians want to siege them up, they're going to be stuck there for a while. They have managed to siege down that troublesome hilly province in Kangra. A lot of Europeans died there because the Chinese had the high ground. But now it's under their occupation. They come in. They might not have quite as many numbers. Oh God, actually checking the numbers, the numbers for the Asian side is going down and down. And we see more of that happening over in Kachar right now. I need to look at this from Delian point of view so we can see the losses popping up, because that's where I get my jollies. Million men in the one province slogging it out. These big fights, so many of them, it must be so taxing on the players to be able to orchestrate all of them going forward. There we go. Precious more than 20 years to go. I reckon we got this. Big retreat from the Asians there. There we go. Oh my, the Europeans are really blasting through with the advantage here. They're sending them packing. Looks like they're actually chasing down some of the ones that fly away. I'm seeing a 301,000 Ming stack, and I'm wondering, what? I'm a little terrified, but you know who isn't? Revolutionary Hanover, who ran straight into that, regardless of the hills, because he wanted to send the Ming army back to China. Ooh. Benina's sabotaging recruitment for Mughals. That's actually going to be a bit of a blow at this stage. Speaking of a bit of a blow, if there's no reinforcements coming in here, those Ming are heading home. They have their own reinforcements just in time, because I see cannons on the front row. But the morale is hugely to the benefit of the Europeans and friends here. Looks like they've intercepted Nepalese, sending the Nepals out. Milan is coming in, so the deal is pretty much sealed, but that's a lot of Euros coming in, with a lot more Delhis ready and willing to join in. Ouch. I think the Euros and friends are using their massive morale to the advantage. They stay in the fight longer, and they deal that bit more morale damage that sends the others packing. But oh, this is down to the wire, and it's not actually looking good for the Europeans here. Cannons on the front row, and they get slaughtered in the front row. No reinforcements to bring on in. The Asians dedicated everything to this fight, and even the power of bringing Milan was not enough. They're able to hold in Kumaon. Come on. What? Okay, sure. Alright. Oh, and now the tables have turned. The turns have tabled. The Ming are on their way to Sirhind to clean up some of the Europeans that didn't make a full retreat back. That's actually quite dangerous for those that are around, but fortunately they've got the fortifications on their side. Keeps them there. Boom, kidney shot in chat is saying it's a very Pyrrhic victory. Hey, any more of those victories and they will not win the war. Again here though, there's the war, sure, but it's what it's all about. Ming can't really get that hegemon anymore. They're out of manpower. They don't have the numbers to build it up. It's been fun looking over in India, but what is going on in the Americas? Mexico is at war again. They're at war with the United States. How and why and where and what? It is the American reconquest of Arkansas, and they're actually bringing in Revolutionary Sardinia Piedmont and Revolutionary Sardinian Canada. Good lord. Not looking good for Mexico. I'm actually quite surprised, but these Sardinians seem dedicated to the cause of helping out their American friends. Vermont is there as well. The Americans not willing to put themselves on the front lines, but doing all the management from behind. And yeah, there's Revolutionary Texas doing what they got to do. So the United States seems very keen to come out of this session, and indeed this whole clash, with something resembling relevance. They want those cores back. They did say it's a reconquest war, and that means that for them, taking the land back will be fairly cheap. It's already their cores, and they're going to want it. And that would be quite the blow to Mexico. Everything they've been working on the past 3 sessions being undone, not by the US entirely, but their strong alliance with Revolutionary Sardinia Piedmont, that I'm not entirely understanding myself, but who knows, we might get some words in from them later on to understand United States foreign policy. Mexico's standing back here. They got Revolutionary Sonora on their side, but they're not taking the fight. In fact, they're just letting themselves get sieged down, which could be a bit of a worry for them. Could be a big worry.
It's pretty clear that we're getting who the top 6 nations will be. Delhi is going to drop down to 7th place, maybe 8th, depending on Jerusalem, if they pass them or not. But we'll see Mexico as 5th and Hanover as 6th. We're only Ming and... Oh, there's a lot of difference still between Ming and the Commonwealth.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Commonwealth can't let this up. and I reckon the Commonwealth is going to have to drop in on one of those Ming victory cards. It could be that the Commonwealth actually does a deal to get Japan to help out.
They are doing it. They're sieging it. They have taken it.
Have they now?
They lost.
That's important. That is very important for the Ming.
They sneaked through everything and they lost Nepal.
That is 4,000 points that the Starnam with Ming are going to start dwindling down on now because they don't hold it. And those 4,000 points won't just it'll bring them down. Then it's going to be Commonwealth, Japan, and Brazil for top 3. It's all on this war for 3rd place. And let's see. They got. I'm wondering why it wasn't all. Why it wasn't all given forts if it's that important. They had them in Kathmandu and on Palpa and in Morang, but not the other 2 provinces. I don't know if they didn't have the time or they didn't consider it was under threat. But look at that now. Revolutionary Commonwealth. Unsurprisingly, this Revolutionary Commonwealth, they know they've got to get this. And this is them. They are in. If they can just hold here for long enough, then they'll be able to secure a trophy for themselves. A trophy for the French paradox. This is a big one. They need to hold on to this, and they need to hold on to it for quite some time. They don't need it for the full 20 years. If they manage to hold on to it for at least 15 of them, they should be okay. Maybe even 10. Because if the Ming do get it back, they still need time to reaccumulate those points. But this, I reckon, has every possibility of being a super tight endgame. Not only that, but the Ming no longer accumulate points from that war score with monthly accumulation. So Revolutionary Commonwealth are now gaining even more. They're getting about 2 points on them every month, and they're crushing Ming's score by 4,000. That is big stuff.
It's a brilliant play because nobody thought about it because they spent like years fighting through Delhi and nobody thought that, okay, can you attack through there or not?
Yeah, I mean, everything was around that Delhi province. Nobody considered the fact that they're going to be going through Nagari and Purang and straight into there. Now, the Ming army is stationed in Morang and in Palpa. He's surrounding Kathmandu. He doesn't want to lose any of these forts. If he loses one of these forts, then the Europeans are going to hold that for a very long time. That's why you see the Revolutionary Hanovers stepped into Kathmandu, and the Ming, like a trap, was just sprung, jumped right on them. I don't think anybody's coming in to save that poor stack. But that does move a lot of Ming troops off. If they could get another one, let's see. This is all hills. It's not mountains, so it's not a huge.
Oh, they committed into Limbuwan now.
Ah, there we go. Now they hold 2 of them, which is going to be even harder to dislodge by the Ming. But the Ming knows it's all about this. The Ming can feel that score trickling down. But the Europeans have to hold this, and that's going to be quite hard, right? It's not the best land. Attrition is going to be high. And the fact that they can only really get solace in other Tibetan mountains out there is not great for them. But it is doing the damage to the Ming, and that's what they need to do. If they could move down, get, say, Palpa and some of the better supplied lands around there, that would work better for the Europeans. But now they just need some provinces so they can divide up their forces and not smoke all that attrition out there. Oh, God, they're getting plenty of it, though. The Ming manpower is not looking so good. He's almost in a deficit. Ooh. Sorry in chat saying, this is what EU4 is all about. Finding another way. When you can't go through Delhi, go around it. They have a good opportunity to move on to Palpa, I reckon, but they probably just don't want to lose any of this. They're setting up supply depots to ensure that they have lower attrition, better reinforcement rates. Because there's a lot of units to dedicate to these small places, but it's giving the Asians time to readjust. Notice that surrounding that area, this is the area of Nepal, we have Malacca, Ming, Delhi, even the Nepal troops have pulled back to there. Oh well, Nepal's actually building up back home as well. But not everything is there. The Mughals are keeping the pressure on the occupations in Delhi, but the Delhians and Nepals are unflinching. I think they know, like they must all know this is where it's at. This is where the trophy gets decided. But every month that ticks by is a month that Ming loses score. They've already lost 500.
We have another war.
Who's at it now?
It's Benin's Papal Imperialist. Benin has attacked the papacy allied with Mughals. Benin, Andalusia, Suriname is going for Rome.
Interesting. Oh, I highly doubt the Mughals are going to dedicate anything to that. Let's look at this from the Pope's point of view. Wissington had to drop out. He's not there to defend his precious Pope. But he does have Landshut, Mughals, Revolutionary Commonwealth, Sardinia, Piedmont, and Canada. I'm not really so sure the Commonwealth is going to jeopardize their score position over this. No way would they come to what's left of the Pope's aid when it's all down to this. But I think that, yeah, I think this is Benin's cry for glory. Oh god, every month that ticks by, the Star Nan watches the score go down and down. Previously there was about 2,000 between Ming and Revolutionary Commonwealth. Now there's only 1,000. And again, the accumulation is in the Commonwealth's favour.
Yeah, he needs to take this one soon or he's going to lose the position. I think it's getting a piece of information. Like, no, if he accepts the white piece, he loses his hegemony.
Yeah, if he misclicked on that, that would hurt a lot. Yeah. Poor Helia, under constant occupation there. Right, it looks like the Ming forces are trying to surround the Europeans, probably knowing that if the Europeans break out, they're going to weaken their position on Nepal. The Europeans have to not fall for that bait. In fact, I think the best thing that the Chinese could do is actually launch an attack on Sakya, even though it's mountainous and it's probably even a river crossing in some cases. If it dislodged the Euros from the other, they could move in and take Limbawan and Naraja back.
Mughals surrender.
Oh, wow. Ooh, that could work against them. There we go. Benin immediately came into the Mughal lands here. So Mughals knew that they couldn't afford that in this war. But you know what that did? That black flagged all of his troops.
Have a battle in Kathmandu. They're attacking.
Alright, so they're trying to break through. They saw weakness in the Ming's defenses there. That is very good. Right now they're on Kathmandu. If they can just take it as quickly as possible. I'm surprised they're not firing a breach at it immediately. Take Kathmandu, then they have a fort, and that is a whole lot harder to take back for Ming than the others, especially now that Ming is declining on hegemon.
They have the breach.
Yeah, they got the breach, but now they have every single conscriptable individual in Asia coming to try and get them out. Now they're taking a -1 for the hills. That's not the end of the world, but they do need other people to come on in here and help them out, right? What do we have here? We've got Revolutionary Hanover and Saxony at the back there. Commonwealth doesn't seem to be joining in. Oh, that could be working bad for them. Kathmandu, that ejected them. This is actually advantage for the Ming and friends. They could push this.
They should commit immediately, but they don't.
Yeah.
They could have just...
But now with all those units being pushed back, the Ming has an option here. He could jump into Limbahuan or Raja and force them out, knowing that all those units can't help them out. Because that's almost 200,000 being forced out of Tibet. Oh my. Delhi actually took the advantage here to march into the Mughals. So now they got back behind a lot of those Mughal forts. That is a good play by Delhi, because now the Europeans, if they want to de-siege the Mughals there, they have to lower their commitment to Nepal and Limbahuan and that. It's probably not so great. That's going to start eating away at the Mughals' war score. Although he has quite a lot of war score, I doubt he'd be kicked out so easily. That's a lot of Delians.
There's Hanover troops marching in the north.
I don't know though. They're kind of at an impasse though. The Europeans can't afford to take too many casualties, and knowing that Delhi has free run of the Mughals right now, they can't dedicate too much in either direction. If they don't hold this too well, then they're going to lose this. Look at that. Revolutionary Commonwealth's taking a step back now. I wonder if that's because of any manpower woes. The guy is out of manpower altogether. So any losses he's taking here is going to be really hard to replenish. We can see that over in Girong. That's already fairly low strength army right there because of attrition and no manpower to back it up. The Commonwealth are way out of their element here. We got another war going on with Brazil. Brazil appears to want to get in on that Mexican fight again. Yeah, they've joined in the American reconquest of Arkansas. It's not looking good for Mexico. That's a real tragedy. They fought really well for what they got. Really well over the past 3 sessions. But America has gotten cozy with Brazil, and for that, Mexico is getting hoisted. So, interesting thought about the Commonwealth occupying that victory card. It goes both ways. Revolutionary Commonwealth have victory cards, and with Benin armies there, and Ming armies there, it could be that they feel the pain of losing their victory cards. Let's take a quick glance at the PLC's ones. He's got 4, all in Europe. Slovakia, Austria proper, Tyrol, and Jing's even managed to nail Berlin. So, it could be that, yeah, Ming maybe doesn't think they can dislodge that. So why doesn't he just go around and deal with Commonwealth? There are ways to get there. There's through Japan, there's through Hungary. Heck, there's through northern Mughals, which is not defended by forts. And then into Genoa and in here. Either way, there are a lot of Benin troops here. The Benin Papal Imperialist War. I really think the Commonwealth is also going to be wishing they hadn't joined this war.
They also put up a bunch of mercenary armies in Europe now.
Mm-hmm.
Altering the Ming.
Yeah, there we go. Ming's getting kicked out there, but there are a lot of Benin units. So what's up with Benin? Is he here to take the Pope, or does he want to shake things up when it comes to score?
I think both things.
I mean, surely, as a good, strong Catholic, he wants to be the custodian of the Vatican. But this is Daniel we're talking about, and he loves to play for the crowd. So if he can make his mark on who's getting the score at the victory trophies at the end, I think he'll be taking it. We still have the stalemate over in Kathmandu. Meanwhile, Nepal does a few bits of de-sieging. I think it's the Europeans that are far more paralyzed than the Asians here. The Asians have taken the advantage or the initiative, and for that they are slaughtering over in the Mughals. I do have the Pope on my side now, so I just need the city, says Daniel. Ooh. So I reckon he wants to take that, but Andalusia is the one occupying it. Are you sure you're going to get that, Benin? That's what I'd like to know.
But the Commonwealth is trying to fight the Benin armies.
Yeah, he has to. He's got to defend his homeland. Who actually fights harder between them? I haven't checked the difference in strength.
We have a battle in Pinsk now.
Yeah, watching them come on in. Okay, much better discipline, much better morale on the Commonwealth side. Wow. Okay, that is good stuff for the Commonwealth. He's slaughtering Benin. Benin is locked in. I love it when you see people try to change the direction of their units, but they're locked in. You see them flinch for a moment, but you know they are locked in and locked down. Oh man, they're going to have to dig a few pits in Pinsk there, because that was a lot of Benin falling. I wonder if they're trying to run away now, because this is tough on Revolutionary Commonwealth. He has to keep his eyes on that. But if the Ming notices that there's a lot of fighting going on there, they could jump on one of these stacks of Revolutionary Commonwealth and push them out, because there's no way. You can be a great player, but you can't fight on multiple fronts at full speed, no pausing, and expect all of them to hold perfectly well, especially when it's across the world here. Somebody in chat is saying that Daniel gets what he deserves for cowardly backstabbing moves. I think Daniel would oppose such allegations, but he's not here to defend himself. Cue him jumping into the chat to defend himself. Oh boy. It's all going on here, right? Andalusia is under occupation from Papal State and Revolutionary Commonwealth as well. I reckon that was just occupations being transferred. Revolutionary Austria is still taking the fight with Hungary. Hungary being out of here is leaving them a bit of chopped liver here. Maybe we should unconditional and focus on Benin, says Garugi. I don't think that's what your allies are going to be wanting here. Oh, well, look at that. Revolutionary Commonwealth is taking the fight to Palpa. He's in there, and there don't appear to be... Oh, the Asians have backtracked, right? He no doubt saw that they're not on the borders there. He goes immediately for the barrage. He doesn't have any units to immediately back him up, and that's going to hurt him because Ming are pouring in with 200,000. They've got the Nepalese right there, another 50k coming in from Ming. I mean, it was a solid effort, but not solid enough. He got caught. Oh, well, he's slaughtering the Ming front force. But he knew he had to get out of there. And that's a little bit of trouble because, oh, he's left this one open. He's sending in an army, but it's probably not going to be enough. He took a risk and, oh boy. He doesn't have the numbers, really. It's almost only Commonwealth here. He's only got a little bit of backup from Hanover, more Hanover. Right, Saxony's trying to march in there. But the position is just so bad. Chang Tang is just really stopping all the deployment that they want to do. All the while, Malacca, Nepal, they're sieging down those Mughal provinces. But there's a big but here. They're not going to win the war. Frankly, neither side is going to win the war. But they need to weaken the other side in order to secure this. And look at that. Revolutionary Commonwealth is 3rd place.
They need to sit on this for 15 years. Versus they need at least more, I don't know, I don't know the maths, but many more years because this one's going to take at least...
The way I see it, if they hold it for 5 more years, Nepal, the Nepal victory card is dead, and then they have a 2,500 point advantage. After that, Ming could not accumulate it fast enough. I'm pretty sure it takes 20 years to tick up. So if by 1810, Ming has still not saved Nepal, we're going to see 3rd place go to Commonwealth. That's my prediction here. Unless I'm completely wrong. I can't remember if it ticks up in 10 or 20.
Yeah, but I think Commonwealth has other problems.
Yeah, well, they've got a number of problems, right?
They're losing forts in their heartland, and they lost their victory card to rebels.
Oh, right. Well, they need that back on the double. Looks like the fort's taking care of that. Benin's right there. Yeah, there's the, oh god, pretender rebels for the Commonwealth. But yeah, they need to deal with all of that and also not let go of this. From the Commonwealth's point of view, Mughals can burn, right? Thanks for all the fish, Mughals, but this is about Commonwealth getting a trophy. Mughals are not in it to win it. In fact, Mughals are not in the top 8 right now. They need Jerusalem to really fall from graces to secure that. So I don't know if Mughals are willing to completely burn themselves for the sake of the Commonwealth, but well, they're currently doing it.
Benin is having fun.
Yeah, I think Benin's just enjoying himself here. There was no reason for Revolutionary Commonwealth to accept that call to arms, but they did, and for that they are suffering. Benin's just running rampant here. I don't know, I think Benin has access to a lot of boats and can just kind of storm on in where they want.
No, he's recruiting mercenary companies in Europe. He's taking a fort down there and recruiting the local mercenary companies because he has an enormous pile of money. It's been accumulated.
Yeah, I mean, Benin's got money, he might as well spend it. He's got plenty of manpower as well, and at this point, you know, Benin's not... Benin can choose which side he wants, and he wants a side that involves him fighting the Commonwealth. But this is pressure.
There's no protection left.
Yeah, I know. If and that puts a lot of pressure on the Commonwealth. His armies are strong, sure, but look at that. There's a lot of Benin here, and Benin just has to siege down those victory cards, and they're fairly easy to get to. Right, Slovakia, Berlin, Austria proper, and Tyrol. In a way, having such condensed victory cards is working against our poor French paradox right now. That said, Benin's not going for them, not just yet. Perhaps he just wants to taunt. We shall see, though. I mean, when it comes to the fighting, Benin does not hit quite as hard as Commonwealth, but Commonwealth doesn't have quite as many as Benin does. Look at him pouring in. Look at all these mercenary companies that he's just charging on in with, as well as his own regulars. And that is not a good day for the Commonwealth.